community group that successfully caused the cancellation of a proposed gas-fired power plant in the Oakville community. And now Frank is Chief Executive Officer of Citizens for Safe Technology. C4ST is a national coalition of parents, citizens, and experts who are all, citizens and experts who are informing Canadians about the dangers of the increasing exposure to wireless radiation from all emerging sources in our lives, from cell towers to cordless phones, and of course, massive commercial Wi-Fi systems in our school. Mr. Frank Clegg.
Well, thank you very much. I know it's been a long evening, so I'm going to keep my comments to about 10 or 15 minutes. I have there's two objectives that I have. I want to introduce C4ST, and I want to talk about what we're doing at the national level, because as both Dr. Havis and Rodney talked about, it's Safety Code 6 is the issue. So I do want to bring you up to date on what we're doing. We've got a group of volunteers who are really dedicating our lives to change Safety Code 6. But I also want to talk about what you can do at the local level here. I want to talk about our experience that we had on the power plant. I'm not suggesting I'm an expert, but we did go through an incredible learning journey on forming a group of citizens and beating that power plant. Now, we didn't expect to have this thing continue with hundreds of millions of dollars and premiers resigning and all that stuff. That's not what we went into, but that can just tell you the impact that you can have. And I will tell you, the initial meeting of C4CA, which is Citizens for Clean Air, that beat the power plant, was about the size of this group. And we coalesced together, we formed a group, we got together and we said, we're not going to stand for it, and a year later we knocked out a power plant. So I will submit to you that the ability to change the PO board's decision is in this room. And I'm going to talk to you, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to say to you at the end. You can vote with your feet, and you can walk over to that table, and you can become a person to be involved, and I'm convinced you can change the decision, or you can go home and say, God, I wish I'd have done it. When I started the power plant battle, I was asked, excuse me, I'm not sure it's anger or frustration that gets me going at this point. I was asked the question, Frank, do you think you can win? I said, I don't know, but I'm going to go to my family and say, I tried everything I could. And I'm going to suggest tonight you get to make the decision. Are you going to go home and say, I tried everything I can to make sure my kids don't get hurt? Or I'm going to go home and say, I'm busy. And I understand everybody's busy. You're all overloaded with work, with being a parent. And so this is the night you get to make the decision. So let me just go through my slides. I got my email up there. I put up there intentionally on frank@c4st.org. If you want to talk to me, send me a mail. I do my own mail. Even when I had a big job, I did my own mail. We're at info@c4st. There's Dan at C4ST. There's Wendy P. and Wendy C. at C4ST. Any questions, just call us or email us and we'll talk to you, okay? All right, next slide. I told you the objectives. Let's go through this. So quickly, go ahead. Angela was kind enough to give us our mission. We're trying to build a national organization that has credibility to educate and inform Canadians, to try to convince the government to change Safety Code 6. The strategy that we're on is that this government is a majority Conservative government that has been elected by the citizens of Canada. They control Parliament. They control all legislation, so we're going to work with them. And we're going to try that strategy for the next few months and see what happens. If it doesn't happen, then we'll have to regroup and see if we need another strategy. So that's what we're trying to do. Okay, so just so you know, Safety Code 6 includes all of those devices. Robin and his guys gave you a demo of some of them, but every single one of those devices comes under Safety Code 6. You got a little bit of a flavor for how high Safety Code 6 is. Let me give you another data point. We had the representative from Industry Canada and Health Canada come to an Oakville Town Council meeting, and we were there for 3 hours, and we had prepped the council with all kinds of questions. They admitted, and they said, well, Safety Code 6, put that in perspective. So let me give you a perspective. Safety Code 6 is about 10% of the level of the CN Tower. So in other words, you can have this Wi-Fi radiating device in your kid's classroom, your child's classroom, and it can radiate energy 10 times the power coming from the CN tower, and it's okay for safety code 6. I don't know how else to explain. I'm not a scientist, my kids tell me I'm not even technical, just to give you an idea of the relative level of that safety code 6. So it has to be changed, okay? So what are we trying to do? First of all levels of government, so safety code 6 is a Health Canada issue, it's federal. Wi-Fi in schools is a provincial situation. Municipalities can get involved in cell tower battles. They can decide not to support a cell tower. All levels of government, first of all, have to recognize there's an issue. They have to recognize that these guidelines are way, way out of date, and they need to be updated. They also have to recognize there are electrosensitive people in the world. And schools have been great to jump on peanut allergy situations. They haven't been great to jump on electrosensitive people. There are electrosensitive people on the planet. The numbers range anywhere from 1% of the population. You want me, was my shoulder on it? Oh, sorry.
Please, thank you.
Okay, sorry. Okay. There's anywhere from 1 to anywhere to 5 to 10% of the population are electrosensitive. So we wanted to, and then finally, okay, and I'm talking about Health Canada has to get up to date. You know, the Safety Code 6 has not been modified or tweaked for over 30 years. There has not been the Health Canada representative said, we don't really have a study about smartphones and safety relating to Safety Code 6. Not smartphones. Never mind any, like smartphones in general, the whole category. All right, so what are we trying to do? We're going to educate Canadians. We want to advocate for change. We have got a little bit of budget money that we put together. We've hired a government relations firm. We had a difficult time trying to find somebody that wasn't involved in the telecommunications industry, the power industry, the Wi-Fi industry. So we've got the small little boutique group in Toronto that are prepared to jump in and help. So we had a double of the time finding somebody. We want to talk about recommendations. I'll talk about our website, what we're trying to get people to do there. And we want to provide alternatives. We can't come to you and say, turn your phone off and never use it again. That's just not the reality. So what are some of the guidelines and some of the alternatives? We are citizens for safe technology. We're not citizens for no technology. There's a time and a place for every tool you have in your life. There's a time and a place for technology. And finally, we want to work with other organizations, unions, and all that work. Okay. All right. Our organization structure, we decided to organize rather by geography. We've got leaders at the national level. So we have a leader for Wi-Fi in schools, a leader for cell towers and situations, a leader for communications or consumer products, 2 legislators, Wendy and Wendy. Their job is to try to influence the MPs across the country. We'll talk about that in a sec. And I'm working to try to find national leaders for the following categories. Okay, so Rodney talked to you about what can you do. Go ahead, please. So you have a piece of paper in front of you. All right, and you also heard him say he can save you a lot of work. And he and I are in 100% agreement. The trustees are elected officials. The trustees are there, most trustees are there because they want to help improve the education system. That's why they're there. They don't get paid a lot of money, they're elected officials. That has to be your target audience. So you have the choice tonight. If you are if you're busy and you're running out of the way, write your name down on here and circle this and just say, I want to help, please contact me. I'd encourage you to go over to that group, and Shelley's there, and talk and just start among yourselves and say, okay, what do you take? What area are you going to take? You've got, I think there's about 3 or 4 people at what's Peel Families, is that the name you've chosen?
Concerned Parents for the Health and Safety of All Children. Peel Parents.
Peel Parents. And so if that's the group, and that's the name of the group, you can make a difference. I'm here to tell you, you can absolutely make a difference. I'm also here to tell you that if you all leave and go out the door, your kids will have Wi-Fi in the school. That I can promise you. And so you get a chance tonight. You're here because you're concerned. You're here because you're worried. You can make a difference. I will tell you a story. I'm going to talk about this power plant, and even though it's a lot of trouble. We got into this thing. I was involved. I'm retired, so I have the benefit of spending my time on these things. My golf game has gone in the toilet since I've retired. I thought I was busy when I was working. I was more busy in that power plant than when I had a job for a living, right? Because it's just you get involved. You do get engaged. I was probably working 40, 50 hours a week on that. And it's hard, but I had more fun. And one of the most rewarding things in my life when it was announced, right? So the Premier came down to Oakville, to the scene of the crime, about a month before he resigned, and he had a meeting, and we were invited. I said, why do I have to go? This is over, I don't want to talk about this anymore. And there were 20 of us in the room, and he said, I want to congratulate you. I want to congratulate you for investing your time I want to congratulate you for taking time away from your families and for teaching us that this was a wrong decision. So congratulations to you. He said it's a terrible process. It takes forever. You don't know we're listening. You don't know we're paying attention. You don't even know if you're having an impact. But he said, I want to personally thank you as a citizen, as a member of the democratic process, for investing your time, for helping us understand it. One of the lines that we had during the power plant, and this makes you crazy, right? We kept saying you could not put a wind turbine on this site because it was too close to the nearest home, right? We couldn't get the government to acknowledge that. We couldn't get to acknowledge that. When he canceled the plant and he talked about it, guess the one line that he used? You know it, right? You can't put it. So my point is, and we were also told that when you're going through this discussion and you're going through this battle, and we called it a battle, you will not get any feedback from the government. You will not hear anything. You will not know if they're paying attention. You will not know if they're listening. You will not hear anything. And in fact, if they do decide to change it, you may never know why they decided to change it, and you may not even know about it until the night before if they decide to change it. Well, guess what? The night before the announcement, I got a phone call from our local MPP, and he said, we'd like C4CA to come to the meeting tomorrow. It's at this and this place. It's at 1 o'clock. Can you come? I said, I don't know. I said, what are we going to talk about? He said, well, the Minister of Energy is coming down, so that tells us it's probably the power plant. And he said, can you tell me? He says, well, I think you're going to be happy. What the heck does that mean, right? And so we were worried that they were just going to move it. Actually, quite frankly, we were going to move it down the Kiwi into Mississauga is what we were worried about. And we had a commitment and a signed deal with the Mississauga folks that it had to get out of this airship, not out of Oakville, right? And so we're preparing, and we knew the press would be there, and so we're trying to prepare for this. My point is, even when we won it, we didn't find out until in the meeting, the minister was standing at the podium, I was sitting right there, and he said, we're killing the plant. So you won't know. You won't know. Now, I have a success story of one. There's lots of success stories or stories that don't win in battles, but I'm telling you, you are where we were in September of 2009. You got a situation that is wrong. You got evidence that it's wrong. You got some experts that prove that it's wrong, and you got a gut feel that says this isn't right. You get to make the decision. Am I going to do something about it? You have to make that call. I can't make that for you. But I will tell you, it's everyday individuals in this room that will make that happen. Okay? So, sorry, go back one. So what are you going to do? I would say organize it, get a team, and there's a bunch of things you can do. So vote with your feet. Go over to that table on the left. We have a ton of resources. We have a Wi-Fi kit based on all the experience that Rodney has, all the experience that Magna has. We put it on our website. If you form this team, we've been involved in organizing tonight. This is the first time the three of us have been on the podium together. It's kind of fun. Those are the two that recruited me, by the way, to this. I'll tell you what Magna said. It was in Dr. Havis said. She said, Frank, I've been personally on this thing for several years. We need a different approach. We need somebody like yourself with your background and your credibility to get involved. And I said, okay, let me see what I can do. So I'm in, and I'm in seriously. I'm in. We used to live in Mississauga. I'm not even involved in the Hill region anymore. This is just freaking wrong. I'm sorry, there's no other way for this. So you have a chance. We will help you get organized. We've got people who have been involved in the team in Peterborough, the team in Simcoe. They've spent years of their lives on this. So you get organized. You give us a couple of people to interface with, and we'll help you whatever we can. Okay? Okay, the next piece. So here's my appeal, that if you want to do that part, go do that. If you want to help us at the national level, we could use some skills at the national level too, right? We really do. I've introduced the 4 members of the team. That is 66% of the national organization for C4ST today. But you got to start somewhere, right? We have another individual in Toronto, another individual in Mississauga. We've got 2 folks in our sister organization in BC, but that's okay. C4CA started with 6 people in a room and grew to over 2,000 volunteers in the town of Oakville, 300 street captains, and $1.3 million in money. And people started donating money when they started seeing our signs all over town. And we wanted to sell the signs. I said, no, give the signs away. Make them free, because then people are going to go, whoa, there's something happening, all right? So anyways, there's all those kinds of strategies we can talk about. All right, so what I'd like you to do then is think about helping us at the national level. And so join us on Facebook. Go to our website. If you don't do anything tonight, fill out this card so you know who you are, we keep you informed. Go to our website, c4st.org, click on that top button, and do the 5 steps to protect you and your family. They're very easy things to do. Do that. If you do nothing else tonight, please take the first steps on protecting your family, right? And it's going to be disconnect the router or turn it off at night. You know, all those things that you expect us to say, we just put them down. Step 1, step 2, step 3, just do those 5, please. All right, under Wi-Fi in school, we put this tool together that makes it very easy. We have an MP local, his name is Terry John, who really provides a lot of good help, coaching and advice. So the MP is in Ottawa Monday through Thursday, and Thursday night they come back to their riding, and the idea is they're in their riding on Friday. So Friday, what's the ritual that most MPs go through? They sit down with their staff and they say, what's hot this week in my riding? What's going on? And what's the criteria that they use? Communication from you as residents to them. And what's the most important, the highest level of communication? If they get a handwritten letter that's got coffee stains on it and your kid's lunch on it and all that. It's personalized, it's from their constituent, and you took a lot of time in thinking. That's job number 1. If they get 5 of those, that's a lot. 5 letters to them is a lot. I will tell you that. Terrence said, if he gets a handful, that's a big, big issue. The next important one is an email from you, because you've taken the time to sit down, personalize it. It's an email that says, you know, Mr. Young, Terrence, I'm really worried about this, please help, right? So we put this little tool together that, okay, at the far end of it is a petition. Now, they get a petition, if they get a petition for, say, you know, several hundred names, that tells them that 700 people signed a petition. And I don't know the ratio, but I will tell you, a couple of dozen emails is better than a petition of a couple hundred names. So learning this, we're kind of trying to figure this stuff out. We said, okay, so the next page. So we set up a tool on our website. This is it's our live on c4st.org. Go to news, go to the Wi-Fi in school section. There you are. And Angela spent a ton of time, and a couple other folks, in putting this together for us. So if you look at it, it describes your situation. If you click on the Peel District part of it, so okay, so it's the beginning of an email, your name, your email address, and then here's what I'd like you to do. Send an email, so drop down box, click on your trustee, right? And I also want you to click on your MP. Clicking on your trustee is for your situation, clicking on your MP helps me. So it's a win-win, right? Click the next slide, so then you get down there, and if you want to understand you're not sure who your MP is, so you can go through, and all those drop-down boxes are a listing of your MPs, your MPPs, and all those folks that you want to send this email to, right? And then on the right-hand side, you say you enter your subject email, put down, I'm in your riding, or I'm your constituent, or whatever says, you need to pay attention to this because I vote for you. You can even say that, I vote for you, or whatever words you want to say, you want to pay attention to this email, right? And then we've got something to write your letter, and you can put, in your words, just put down anything. This is what makes it a personal letter, as opposed to a petition. And that's why we did it this way. It comes from your email ID, it doesn't come from C4ST, right? There's a little checkbox where you tell us you become a citizen, so that's good for me, because I can count you as one of my citizens, and we register. And if you don't want to be a citizen, then we send you a mail and you say, please take me off your list. And I will, I promise I will, or Dan will. And then you have to do that rigmarole down on the right-hand side to make sure it's not spam, right? So just do that, and I encourage you to do that, and send that mail off, and then that sends it to your trustee that says this is serious, I'm worried about it. It sends it to your MP, and it helps us all. Okay, fair enough? So do that. Okay, the next page. Then I'd like you to, when you're finished over there and you're all revved up about the appeal board, come over to talk to us in C4ST. My goal tonight would be to have, if I got 5 of you to come tonight, I could double almost the size of my team. So I'm so excited, I can't wait to run over to the table. Right? Now, here's the deal. Here's the deal. Everybody's busy, right? So we welcome all skills, and we welcome as much time. We have got people from all kinds of expertise. We have a mom on our team, and I talked to her, and she said, I don't know anything. I said, you are a mom. I said, when you are sitting down with an MP and you're talking about being a mom, ours happens to be a dad, I said, you have way more credibility than I do talking about being a mom and worrying about your kids. I said, so don't ever underestimate the value of being a mom when you're talking about kids' health. Never, ever, ever underestimate that. Well, you should see her now talk. You should see her. She got in front of Oakville Council, and she's all nervous, this is what I do, and I said, just talk about being a mom. And you're concerned about being a mom. And she was unbelievable. So now she talks about her concerns as a mom. Now she's getting into the science and all that, right? If you have a couple hours a week, we'll take it. If you have, now we also have people on the team that, in my background, we've got an individual who's an investment banker. and she's got her MBA. She's got pretty heavy stuff there, right? She's on some pretty high strategy stuff, right? Another individual who runs his own business, a small business in Oakville. So we've got a variety of different skills, and we take them all and we welcome them all, okay? I really like you to think about it. I really like you to think about it. The way we win this deal is if Safety Code 6 gets changed to the levels that people aren't going to get hurt. And they can do. I started a presentation, a cell tower presentation by Bell Canada, just up the road here. And they had an idea and they proposed. So this is Bell Canada proposing it, and Councillor Tovey from the City of Mississauga Council was in the room, and they're going to put the smaller cell tower antennas on these light poles about every second or third block, and they're going to put 50 of them in this 4 square kilometer area. They're about shoebox size devices, and I said, how does that compare? And he goes, all the mumbo jumbo and on. I said, I don't understand that, microwatts and centimeters and blah, blah, blah. I said, tell me how that relates to Safety Code 6. And he said, it's 10,000 times less than Safety Code 6. So 1 second. So here you have Bell Canada in a commercial environment, because they're getting the crap beat out of them by all the cell tower battles, proactively going to the community saying, we can do this obviously financially feasibly, 10,000 times less than the radiation levels of Safety Code 6. That's an incredible statement. So industry can do it. I spent my life in industry. If we go to industry and say, you can put those routers in, okay, I'm done, I'm wrapping. Thank you. I got the help. So we can put these in the schools, but make them thousands of times lighter. Industry will figure it out. I spent my life in the technology business before I worked at Microsoft, I worked at IBM. Technical people come up with technically brilliant solutions, but nobody's encouraging or challenging them to do it. Okay? So that's where we are. I guess we should do you want to open up the questions? Is that what you want to do? Okay. Do you guys want to come up in case there are, or do you want me to see what the questions for?
Do we have runners?
Okay, sir, you had a question. I cut you off in the orange.
It was exactly about that bell thing. I discovered it myself. I went out to measure cell towers to make an equivalence between a laptop in front of a kid and how far a cell tower would be. So the equivalence is laptop of 30-40 centimeters is the same as a cell tower of 50 meters.
Yes,
right across the street.
Absolutely.
But I discovered those new bell towers. They're really hidden. They are far more powerful than 10,000 times.
Yes, oh no, absolutely.
The Health Canada. Every time when you hear mentioning intensities, they miss mentioning the distance. It's very important. If I go to the moon, it's going to be 10,000 times less, right?
Yes. Yeah.
No one mentions the distance. It's very important.
I agree. Yeah, the point is that nobody's measuring distance. And so, as you saw in Maggie's presentation, Dr. Have's presentation, you know, how close you are to the router and what's near you is a direct impact. And so you could have a tower or a Wi-Fi that's well below Safety Code 6, which is still, as Rodney said, still way higher than it should be. And if you're measuring it off in that distant corner in the room versus your child sitting right there, it is a significantly different.
So I measured
sir, do you have a question?
A few bell towers like this, which I discovered recently just before our meeting with the director. I measured at 50 meters, a level that would be maybe 3-4 times less than a classic cell tower.
Yes.
They're not that less powerful. The thing is, they're very small and inconspicuous.
That's right.
They put them on building tops, or they're really small antennas.
Yeah, I understand.
Like this.
And that's why we're getting Safety Code 6, because it doesn't matter the size of the tower, but it really is it's the power that comes up.
Because
Sir, do you have a question?
We're
We're running over. Do you have a question? I'd be glad to help you with a question. Do you have a question?
Yeah, my question is, what distance did Bell mention? They're specialists.
Well, in that meeting, they said it was at street level, 4 meters away from the antenna, is what they told us. Thank you. This one here?
You want to read?
Oh, sure, yeah, because I have a page. Angela, on behalf of the community and to everybody, I want to say thank you. This is fantastic. Dr. Havas, before I came here, I'm kind of neutral. I'm on the fence, and my husband's an academic radiation oncologist at Princess Margaret Hospital. I'm a Master's of Science. So we never believe anything until we go to the papers, we go to PubMed, and we pull everything and we read it for ourselves. So one of the things in speaking with people, my children are at Canoli Public School, somebody said, oh, that Dr. Havis, she has a conflict of interest. She's affiliated with a company that sells protective devices. Can you clarify that?
I'm not affiliated with any company. I don't get any kickbacks. When Rob got up here and showed some of his stuff, he's totally independent of me. One of the things I do promote are something called GS filters. They clean up dirty electricity, but I've never received a penny from the company. What I do is I test devices that Health Canada should be testing, and if my tests show that they help people, then I simply want to get the information out to them. So I have no conflict of interest at all.
She bought a sauna from me, and all the work she did for me, she would not let me give her a dime of a discount. I swear, it was thousands of dollars, and I felt I should give it to her for free. She said, I'm paying full price. I know you didn't expect me to say that.
I have a list of questions, but I'll only ask one more because I know there's other parents. The Peel Board keeps responding to say that a WHO statement about electromagnetic low-frequency radiation fields, they love to say back to us, and it's in every Q and answer document, that that was associated with cell phones. But is that the actual classification associated with cell phones, or is it just in and of itself low-frequency electromagnetic radiation fields?
Okay, most of the research that is very convincing is the cell phone, or the cell phone studies. And so a lot of the research was based on cell phones, because that was our primary source of exposure to these high frequencies. However, the guidelines, or what's it called, Class 2B carcinogen classification, is based on all radio frequency radiation. That includes cell phones, baby monitors, it includes broadcast antennas. If they're close enough to you, they'll cause exactly the same things that microwave radiation will. So it's for the entire spectrum. Now, Beth Peterson, who's the Director General of Health Canada, she's just resigned recently, so she's been replaced. She actually released a statement that it only referred to cell phones. And I think that's one of the reasons Health Canada has come out with a statement about cell phones. She's factually incorrect. She's been factually incorrect about a lot of things. Just one bit of information, her background, she was shifted laterally into that position. She has a master's degree in pharmacology. I went to Ottawa to meet with her because I was so excited we had someone new in that position, because the previous person was just totally on the side of industry. He actually had a conflict of interest with industry. So we went to Ottawa to meet with her. I was stunned by her level of ignorance. I was absolutely stunned. She knew nothing about this. She's appeared on a number of committees, and when she's asked questions, you can just tell she just doesn't get it. And the person who's now replaced her also has a pharmacology background, so I'm actually really quite concerned that they're putting people in that position who don't have the expertise to lead the department forward. They have to rely on the people beneath them who have been in that position for a long time. And you know, as Frank said, they haven't changed the guidelines for over 30 years.
Thank you, Magna. Here's a question. On Global TV last night, Tony Pontes, Director of Education for Peel Board, said, "We don't have industrial strength Wi-Fi. The Peel Board's Wi-Fi is low grade." The Peel Board is installing, that's what Tony Pontes said. The Peel Board is installing the Cisco 3600 series system. I researched this system, and Cisco provides ways to reduce a person's exposure, for example, increase distance from the router. My son's desk is right below the router in his classroom. The router is about 1.5 meters from the top of his head. Question: is the Cisco system 3600 series classified as industrial strength?
It's a really good question, because you get these answers from people who don't necessarily know. I saw that clip on Global News. Specifically, what drew my attention to it was he said these are very low exposure, low frequency. So he doesn't understand. Low frequency means from that wave of the magnetic spectrum that Dr. Havis showed. These are all at 2.45 gigahertz. That's a high frequency, and all of them are at that same frequency. What he meant was low intensity. So he doesn't understand the terminology. He's been told, and he's saying it because he's the spokesperson and he has to do that, so he doesn't know. These are the same routers, the Cisco system, that was above my wife's head when she started to become nauseous and dizzy with the headache. These are the same ones that there was a kid in a Barrie school, the Terry Fox Elementary, where actually one boy died in the gym. That was the Terry Fox. So there was another kid in a classroom, and he was having terrible symptoms with headaches and dizziness and nausea, and his mother was in simply for the parent-teacher interview. And she said, you know, where's his desk? And she had been seeing the stuff on the TV and says, is that a Wi-Fi router? Man, he's sick every day. Could you move him to the back of the class? That's all she asked for. And she was told, you know, of course. And the next day, a note came home. The school board has told me I'm not allowed to move your child's desk based on Wi-Fi because our policy is that it's safe. That Cisco router was making him sick. That kid has not been at school a day since then. He's been 2.5 years schooled at home in Barrie. And so yeah, they do emit higher levels than your home Wi-Fi, but that's not even a tenth of it. The fact of the matter is that there's 30 of them in my kid's school. So this idea that you can look up a single designation on a website and say, well, the intensity is only so many times 4, 5, 8 times higher than the home doesn't matter when you're running 30 of them. And it doesn't matter when, in addition to the 2.45 gigahertz, they actually communicate with each other to become enmeshed as a system at 5.8 gigahertz, which is a different frequency, but it adds to the intensity. So if Rob was measuring a range in Wi-Fi from say 2.4 gigahertz to 6 gigahertz, and that machine was on, it would register as double the intensity because you had 2 frequencies going. If you shut one of them off, you would only have this intensity. So yes, they are bad. If it was 1.5 meters for my kids, I wouldn't put them there. It depends if the kid gets symptomatic though. And if they are, dry mouth is the first thing you're gonna notice, is they get dry mouth and they feel dehydrated. So that's the answer to that, and I know about it.
You can't buy them in any stores there.
No.
They're industrial, yes, they are, yeah. They're not industrial.